Lesson 2, Cursive, lowercase n, m, o, q, u. Reviewing our guidelines. Top line, solid blue. Midline, dotted blue. Baseline, solid red. Descending space. Let's begin. You begin at the baseline for a lowercase n. You're going to make a little hill up to the midline, hump over, come straight down, go back up that same line, hump over, come straight back down to the baseline with a little kick. Quick verbal strokes. Baseline, hump over once, hump over twice, little kick. Baseline, hump over once, hump over twice, little kick. One more time. Baseline, hump over once, hump over twice, little kick. And looking back, make sure that your humps are about the same size, not one much bigger than the other. Make sure that you are touching your guidelines, baseline, midline, baseline, on all of your letters. Make sure you have a kick in the front and in the back. Your turn. Now that you've practiced the lowercase n in cursive, we're going to skip a dotted line so that we can practice the next letter, which will be a lowercase m. You go from one dotted line, you jump to the next dotted line, top line, midline, baseline, descending space. You skip that and go to the next dotted line. Then you're looking for your blue top line, midline, red baseline, descending space. So actually the next line on a dotted line paper is from here to here, even though it looks like 1, 2, 3 lines. Okay, so we found our next dotted line. Cursive M is going to begin on the baseline. We're going to start just the way we did with the N. Little hill up, touch the midline, down to the baseline, back up, hump over, touch the baseline, back up to the midline, hump over a third time, and then you have a little kick. If you'll notice, this N looks like a manuscript M. This one has an extra hump. So that's the difference there. Let's move on to the next letter. Quick verbal strokes. Baseline. Hump over once, hump over twice, hump over 3 times with a kick. Again, trying to make sure that your humps are kind of even as best you can. Next, baseline, hump over once, hump over twice, hump over 3 times with a kick. Now that one, I think my middle hump is a little bit too big, so I'm going to try one more time. Baseline, hump over once, hump over twice, hump over 3 times with a little kick. That's better. Your turn. We've practiced lowercase n and m in cursive. Now we're going to go to lowercase o. Beginning once again at the baseline. We're going to make our little hill up to the midline. Once you get there and make your little hill, then you're going to go back over and around. You're going to touch the baseline, come back up and around. You're making this round. Once you get back to the point where you began, you're going to come down, make a little smile up to the midline. This is going to be your high connector. It's going to connect high with the letter that comes next. I'll show you how we'll do that. Again, quick strokes, baseline, up, over, around, close, high connector. Baseline, up, over, around, close, high connector. Make sure your high connector does not go past the midline. One more time. Baseline, up, over, around, close, high connector. Your turn. Next letter that we will be learning is cursive Q-U. Now we're going to combine the Q and the U because they normally have to be spelled together. Whenever you have a Q, you should have a U after it. Here we go. I go to the next guideline, baseline, little hill up, back over and around, works very much like the O and the A and the D. I'm going to go straight up, straight back down into the descending space. I'm going to backwards loop to the baseline right there. I just picked up just to show you. And then I'm going to connect immediately into the U, which is straight up to the midline, straight back down to the baseline, go back up to the midline, come back down to the baseline with a kick. Next, QU. Baseline, up, over, straight up, straight back down, backwards loop, into my U, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down with a kick. Baseline, up, over, straight up, straight back down, backwards loop, up into my U, straight up into my U, come back down with a kick. Notice for all of this, both of these letters, I did not pick up my marker the whole time. You are, of course, writing with your pencil. I need to write on here so it's darker for you. Next one more time. Baseline, up, over, around, straight back down, backwards loop, go into my U, straight up, come down. This is a U-turn. Then you go straight up, straight back down with a kick. So the U is like a U-turn. Your turn. The next two letters that we're going to be practicing are going to be Q-U. Anytime you spell a word with Q, you must have a U after it. So we're going to learn them together at the same time. So the Q is going to remind you very much of the G that you should have already been practicing. And in the G, you have down in the descending space, you have a frontward loop. For the Q, we're going to be doing the same thing down below, but we're going to have a backward loop. Let me show you how this goes. It is baseline, little hill up, over and around, close. Looks like the A, the D, the G. We come straight back down into the descending space. Here's our backward loop to the baseline. Now you're going to make a connector and go straight up into, we're starting the U now, straight up to the midline. Back down, make a U-turn, go straight back up to the midline, straight back down with a little kick. So all of this needs to be done in one stroke. I was separating it just to show you how the little strokes are going. Let's do it all at once. Baseline, up, over, around, close, straight down below, backward loop, into my U, up, U-turn, up, down with a kick. Baseline, up, over, around, close, down below, backward loop, into my U, go straight up, come straight back down, U-turn, straight up, straight back down with a kick. Your turn. In lesson 2, these are the letters you've been practicing. If you'll notice, there is a beginning connector and an ending connector, even if the connection is up high like this. This is so that you are able to easily glide into the very next letter, whether it's before or whether it's after. We're going to be using some of the letters from lesson 1 in combination with these to create new words. First word is going to be can. Top line, midline, baseline. Always make sure you are having your guideline set. Can. It's going to be k, a, n, right? So we begin with a C, baseline. Go up, hook down, back around. Now remember, the C had to come out. So when it comes out, then that means we get to go into the next letter, which is an A. Over and around, they look so much alike. Straight up, straight back down to the baseline. Now I'm going to quickly start going into my N, which is 1 hump, 2 humps, and a kick. Now, you'll just go ahead and watch me as I'm writing can again. Making sure to notice that it's got to be close together. When you're writing your words, you don't want to be spreading them way out because it's very hard to be sliding your hand over like that. So you want to try to keep it all within a nice, neat little area. So, baseline, up, over, around, up, over, around, straight back down, hump once, hump twice, with a kick. Your turn. For the next word, I'm going to move down to the next guideline, where I find the dotted line, top line, midline, baseline. This word is going to be dog. So we need to begin at the baseline, hump over, around, keep your round part inside of your hump, straight up all the way, back down. Now let's immediately go into our O. So we have to hump over, come over and around, looks much like the D, come up, close it. Now you're going to dip down, go back up to the midline. Now I'm going to pretend that I'm starting at the baseline, but instead of doing that, I'm going to go straight into a new hump for my G, because we're writing the word dog. Straight up, straight back down, forward loop, cross at the baseline. That's pretty. Let's go. Over, around, straight up, straight back down, over, around, close, high connector. Now I'm going to hump over for my next G, my next letter, straight down, front loop, cross at the baseline. Your turn. The next word we'll practice is going to be quad. And that we're going to spell that with Q-U-A-D. Begin at the baseline. A little over, around, close, straight back down. Remember, this is a Q, so it's going to have a backward loop to the midline right there, baseline right there. Then we're going to immediately go into our U, which is straight up. U-turn straight up. And then we've got our connector. Let's go into the A. So you dip down, then start going into the A. You just sort of forget that you have letters right here and just make your A. Let's have our connector, and then let's immediately go into our D. Just forget that you have letters right there and start going into your D, over and around, straight up, straight back down with a kick. That's a little bit longer word for cursive. I think you can handle it. Baseline, up, over, and around, down below, back loop, into my U, and then go into my A, straight up, come straight back down, go into my D, straight up, straight back down with a kick. Your turn. The last word we'll be practicing for lesson 2 will be mod. M-A-D. So we need to begin with our M. Baseline. You're going to hump over once, hump over twice, hump over 3 times, keeping your pencil down on the paper. Don't lift up, don't lift up. Then go into the O, hump over and around, make it nice and rounded. Dip down like a little smile. That's your high connector. Now forget that you've written that and just go into your D. Make sure it humps around, and then you go straight up, straight back down with a kick. One more time, let's try it again. Ooh, and I'm even noticing that my D is better slanted over here, and this is a little bit too straight. So I'm going to try to make mine a little bit more slanted this time. It needs to all be kind of in the same direction when you're looking at your paper that you're writing. They can't be going in different directions. Let me try it again, make it better. M, 1 hump, 2 humps, 3 humps. Go into my O. Dip down, hump over. Now go straight up, straight back down with a kick. So this one, if I covered this one is going kind of in the same direction more so than if I had this one. This one was going in the wrong direction. It was going straight up that way. This is going in this slant, this is going in this slanted area, and this direction. So I like this one better than this one. I can easily erase it since I'm on dry erase board. And let me rewrite it. M, 3 humps, over, around, making my O, high connector, into my D. Now I'm going to try to do the same. Well, that's a little bit better. Could be better. Your turn. And I hope you've enjoyed this week's lessons. I'll be seeing you on Thursday, and I look forward to seeing all your hard work. Keep on trying. Be proud of yourselves. See you next time.